My name is Katie. I recently left secondary school to take on an apprenticeship here in London. Like many 16-year-olds, I was left with a choice as to whether I'd further my education or find work. It struck me after speaking with relatives how many trades this city once offered. In the past, you could learn how to become a clockmaker, a tailor or a shoemaker. Most of these trades, of course, still exist, but you're more likely to study the stock market or ICT than you are to learn a manual labour. This has set me on a journey to learn more about apprentices and working conditions. I'm on my way to the Guildhall Library to talk to Jeannie Smith, a librarian who works there, to hopefully discover more about apprentices. So what kind of jobs did the apprentices do? Was it just one particular one, or was there a variety of jobs?
For the livery companies, they represented trades like carpentry, there are goldsmiths, grocers, drapers, it's a huge range of trades. We have registers of apprentices that someone's recorded all these from the manuscripts that we're looking at, and once they had served their apprenticeship, they had the opportunity to become free of the city, free of the company, and therefore free of the city. How long did you say your apprenticeship will last?
About 15 months.
Yeah.
So is that roughly the same time? Or?
No, it was the average was about 7 years.
It's a long time. Was it just boys, or was there a chance that girls would become apprentices as well?
It tended to be boys. Most of the time it was boys, but some did take on female apprentices, but they were quite rare.
So did they all start their working day at the same time, or was it a variety, or when was the set block that they had to work in?
I think it would be linked to the nature of the trade that you were engaged in. So I would think that if you were a waterman, lighterman's company, your hours might be rather different because of the nature of what you were doing. For a lot of apprentices, it would have been the working day would probably have been the hours of daylight, because they didn't have our artificial light to work by, so it would vary between winter and summer how many hours they would be working. This was to do with the agreement for, let's say, the 7-year apprenticeship. The apprentice would promise to do his best in his work hard, be obedient to usually part of it, and the master is promising to give the apprentice proper training, to feed and clothe them. Usually sort of says something like sufficiently. It doesn't. They're not in the lap of luxury, unfortunately. So it's a sort of, they're both promising to keep their part of the agreement over the 7 years, because the apprentices would normally live in the master's house.
Well, I've done my own research into this topic. I found out that once the apprentices finished their working day, they used to chime the bells, and all the apprentices used to go home, but sometimes they didn't ring it, and the apprentices used to say a rhyme to the steeplekeeper, and they used to reply back, and it was like a little medieval rhyme that they used to do. But is there no history on it that you know of?
Not that I know of, no.
So I have to go down to the church to do my own research on that then.
Oh yes, let us know how you get on.
I will do. Thank you for everything that you've shown us. It was very, very interesting. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thanks. After meeting with Jeannie Smith, I discovered there's no records between the apprentices and Bow Bells. So I've decided to go on a mission of my own. I'm on my way to meet a contact called Simon Mayer, who's a steeplekeeper at St Mary Le Bow Church, and hopefully he can tell me if there is a correlation between the apprentices and the Bow Bells.
Subtle as you'll feel. It's not a hard pull.
No, it's
the
not.
difference between just a little bit more and a little bit less is a huge amount. So it does take time just to be able to ring a bell on your own, and then to try and fit in with other people. It's a process, it's a physical skill, and it does, as you say, take a lot of concentration. There's a lot more to it than most people would realise.
Relationship between the bells being rung and apprentices.
There you go, you can actually hear them. That's nice, Toby, wasn't it? That was just the quarter past on the clock. Yeah, the bells have had a history, I think, with apprentices. Traditionally, bow bells were sounded for the curfew, curfew comes from cover the fire, which was at the end of the day, and it's traditionally the time of saying to people that's the end of the working day. And there are all sorts of stories about the bell not being rung on time and apprentices getting very upset about it, and there's some various rhymes and things about it. But yes, it was used there at that sort of point to say the end of the day and the end of the apprentice's working day. So.
Okay, do you know any of the rhymes?
I can't remember them off the top of my head.
The poem that I've discovered has become a bit of a problem for me because the contacts that I've spoken to don't know much about the poem itself. So I'm going to say it to you guys and you can make of it what you will. Clerk of the Bow Bell with the yellow locks, for thy late ringing, thy head shall have knocks. To which they received the reply, for you shall have the bow bell rung as you will. The poem signifies the end of the apprentice's working day. So the bell ringers used to ring the bells and the apprentices used to go home. But now it's not like that, it's completely different. Everyone's hours are scattered and they all go home at different times. My next stop is here in Islington, where I've come to meet John, a local tailor, to see if I can learn an old trade. So I know that the trade industry is a very old industry, and you yourself, was you an apprentice or did you go to education to learn about tailoring?
I learned from family because all my family is tailors.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to learn?
It takes about 2 or 3 years, 4 years.
To become really experienced?
Yeah. Okay. Now, I'll do this pocket and you do this pocket.
Oh, okay.
By yourself, okay?
Okay.
Now you hold the jacket like that.
Yep.
And you have to be stitching big stitch like that.
Yep.
Okay, not like machine stitch. Easy?
Yep.
Can you do this pocket for me, please? Cool.
Oh, like that.
Yep, it's fine.
And then, which way is it?
Whatever you want.
Oh, I don't know. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even though it's really bad, I'm really
No,
sorry.
it looks good. I'm sure it looks good.
Tailoring was a very different experience for me. It's nothing like I'm used to. My mum and my nan usually sews my clothes for me. So for me to have a go at it, it was a new and exciting experience. But John said to me that it gets repetitive each and every day. So I don't think I would have been used to it or would have liked doing it every day. At the moment I'm doing a media apprenticeship and it involves creative decisions, new projects each and every week, and I get to do creative things that I like to do. I'm on my way now to London Sam to show you guys what my media apprenticeship is all about. I'm a modern day apprentice studying creative and digital media at London Sam. I've had an opportunity to get the kind of hands-on experience you wouldn't usually find in typical academia. We have so much more in store for us now, but apprenticeships aren't everybody's first choice as a segue into the working world. My apprenticeship has been very valuable for me, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds.